We'll open the Newton County Drainage Board regular meeting December 3rd. First on the agenda is minutes from November 5th.
I'll make a motion to approve.
All second that. Discussions. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Waller ditch.
I think that's.
That was you guys, yeah.
We don't have
Yeah.
anything.
We're at the bottom.
I got cows to leave, so.
We'll try to make it fast.
You want the?
Yeah.
The one I.
Yeah.
How are you?
Pretty good. How you been?
Good.
You've already seen it, but.
You got results. You want to write this? You need to sign this.
Okay. Thank you.
There.
Oh.
So as a few of you know, my name is Mike Schoaf. I'm the property manager at Willow Slough Fish and Wildlife area. Coming for you today because the Nature Conservancy and the Department of Fish and Wildlife, or Division of Fish and Wildlife, we kind of like to do a big project between the two properties up on Willow Slough's north end and kind of the west side of the Nature Conservancy grounds. So specifically, it's between 200 north, if 200 north ran all the way to state line, and 400 north. And got some legal description there, but we're looking at trying to do about 1,000-acre wetland up there between the two sites. If you're familiar with J.C. Murphy Lake, it's essentially the same size as J.C. Murphy Lake. So gives you a pretty good idea of imprint on the landscape up there. It'd be split into two units. One unit being controlled, the water be controlled on the north side, the other unit being controlled on the south. There's a list of benefits there, but essentially all that's going to be impacted is Nature Conservancy and Fish and Wildlife grounds with this project. So get this unzipped, taking it off. But anyway, so the areas of concern for our projects are going to be 300 north, 400 north, and then a few ditch systems. So if you turn to the second page of the little handout, that's essentially the footprint of where water would land. So as you can tell, pretty good size. We do have a little bit of frontage up on 400 north. The south wetlands has a pretty good frontage on 300 north. Flipping one more page, this kind of just shows a little bit of the layout. What we're trying to hope to do and get permission is for putting in 3 water control structures. And one would be on the Lawler ditch at the very north end, right at County Road 400 north, where the star is. And then on the next page, there's 2 more structures we'd like to put in down on the Houseworth Reinard, and then on the 1/2 section line lateral. So that's what we're here to discuss today, is trying to get permission to put those 3 structures in county drains. A couple weeks ago, I met with Bo and Sharon with the county highway. We discussed the road impacts on what we should probably do for the road maintenance and road concerns. We all agreed that 400 north, all we'd have to do is kind of fill that roadside ditch and armor the road more to a slope of like 3-to-1 to 6-to-1, just a more of a gentle slope off the road. That removes the road hazard, cars sliding off in that ditch, but really doesn't have any impact on the drainage at all. And then when we look at 300 north, there's a lot more concern with that one. We discussed possibly raising the road or armoring that road as well. There's going to be a portion roughly 100 yards long that would go underwater seasonally if this were to get passed. The highway folks and Bo and I all, and Lisa, who I should have introduced her, with TNC sitting back here. We've all kind of agreed that it would be okay for that road to be closed seasonally. We're not real sure how often this full pool level would actually occur, but don't foresee like it would be very long annually before that water drops off. We'd gate the road closed, got our parking lots on either side, and still have some access there, but it'd be restricted seasonally, essentially. But because that water is coming up on either side of the road at the same time and inundating, there's no real threat to the road itself as being washed out or deteriorated in any way from current, essentially. Sharon's concern was muskrats and bows too. Again, so that's why we would kind of fill in those ditches and armor it up and kind of protect it from the muskrats, essentially. That's the biggest concern. So I've also reached out to Ron Stick, met with him earlier this week. He's really the only landowner that utilizes that road. It's a stub road between two county roads. His house is located on the west end, his farm's kind of southeast there, so he does utilize it routinely. But he's actually in favor of this going forward, and if that road's closed, he wouldn't be too upset. He's pretty thrilled that the water would be closer to the surface, or from an irrigation standpoint, we'd have a little bit better water for our neighbors to pretty much siphon out of us and spray on crops and things, so. That's the short synopsis of it. I don't want to waste too much time for you guys, but if you have questions, I'd love to answer those and try to get this moving.
We were here a couple of years ago, like sometime.
Yep. It was similar to this. It was gonna be a little smaller scale. So since then, I think on it a little bit more and kind of dreamed up a little bit more and realized what we really could possibly do by moving that structure. Really, one structure would be moved from what we had previously got approved on the Willow Slough portion of it.
That was over on 400 west.
Yeah, just to the west of 400 west. So this is pretty much the same project we discussed 2 years ago, with the exception now it's about a foot deeper. So we'll move a structure to help accommodate, get that water in the Houseworth Reiner instead of being on a side internal ditch. But pretty much the same. Even at that point, we had discussed meeting with the county and seeing what they wanted to do with the road situation. So
Originally, we were just gonna take out the culvert and raise the road in that low spot so that they could hold it on the south side of 300. Now, this new idea that 300 will, in a good year, it will go underwater. But it's not, like I said, it's not like a flowing water that's gonna wreck the road. It's just the impassable at certain times.
and by underwater, it's
Right.
6 inches, 8 inches underwater. It's not like it's gonna be buried by much, but I don't foresee it being inundated for long by any means.
In
But
our meeting with, that we had before, which Sharon didn't have any concern with it because the cost of raising that road to a point that it would never go underwater, as opposed to just letting it go underwater for a couple, 3 months out of the year, really wasn't worth it.
How is that gonna affect the neighbors to the west? Where's their water go? That section
all that water to the west, well, west of the,
west of 600 west.
okay, west of 600 west, that water goes west and north. That water doesn't come into the TNC parcel at all. All those ditches start at that road and work their way west. And all the ones east are pretty much blocked there at the road and they all flow east.
Okay,
So,
and you'll have to show me where that water goes west, I guess.
yep, I can do that.
See any ditches going that direction, the main ditch will still be along.
So we're all supposed to flow north anyway.
Yep.
Yep. But all those under the road are blocked off, but I'm pretty sure.
County blocked off. It blocked off the road, the ditches under the road.
So there's never been culverts under the road. So these are all split, proposed for, I got some pretty good ways. That's a 50 on average on all of those. But then the third side, there's more. That's it from this one. So, awesome.
Guess that's wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just can't say I tried to go.
Let's say that bitch stops there. So. It's gotta have an outlet somewhere.
Yeah. So I know it's not coming east, because like I said, it's never involved in China. Right.
On the very.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I didn't know this, I didn't know, I would pull the control. Right now, that around. So, I don't have time. I don't know how that's gonna affect the neighbors.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I think I would say I didn't. But what sticks are. That water, some of that water goes east. That's low, there.
Most of that was south.
That goes back,
So
so,
there's the size thing,
yeah, because that's a split kind of across there, even all the way over 55, like a split there, some of the big ones from the side, that'd be my concern.
I think some of the ones,
Warren flows through the south side, but that ditch would not be impacted at all.
because
So
it's on the other side, isn't it?
they would be on the south side of that wetland unit, so any of our seep would catch in our property line ditch, which is what his pumps into. So it wouldn't have any bearing on him.
Is he pumping going north or is he pumping going south?
He pumps going west. Why he doesn't pump going east into that ditch system, I don't know.
One's pump going west,
Mhm. Yep,
To the south.
so his water comes through us. I'll get it pulled up real quick.
so north of Sticks, at 80, pumps at 80. That water doesn't come west there. Pumps east of the 400.
Yeah, it's part of Gilligan.
Yeah, Jill Farm.
So Warren's water, he pumps this ditch. Flows across the south.
That's the one you guys.
Yeah.
That's,
So
part
part
of
of
this
this,
never been leveled on.
no, so part of this is we were planning on cleaning. Cleaning this section of ditch off to the north, and we'll use that spot, we'll put our levee, which our levee did. It's about 1.5 to 2 foot deep, so there's tons of water there, where there's water across south of the levee system. And flow into this ditch now. So it is,
So is this what the companies?
that's on the Willow Street piece. Well, these exceptions. So. Yeah. So yeah, the Willow Street piece, it's your section of the. And if you look at, we're on that road, the culvert. It's really fresco there, so it's essentially just either side of that culvert. Not both sides. Yeah, this. So they're all blocked. All, yeah. These,
That's the city property.
this is the nation, sorry, so. So, for the south. So these three groups named it choose. There's one. Be familiar with that water?
Which that,
Right there to the northwest of Ron's house. South of 400s, west of 600 west. I know. That's right, that's all I got. I know that one doesn't count. Go east. It's gonna get it across here. Well, there, it's not, it's good. That's, well. But it's west, it comes out to. Cross. It's state line. You're right here. This is something, yes, so. Don't see the ditch. I know that one doesn't go east and that doesn't come south, so. It's one more. So we had discussed the spur ditches of. Huge. Close to my home, but more just continue to see. Right, possibly going out of it already. The water. So when you bring the water table up. You know, because that's what you're essentially gonna do.
Yeah.
What, how far out does that footprint go? I don't think honestly it's saying it's gonna go too far instead of lining the ground pretty quick, so. Any of the. Water table should be higher because we're ready for you to bring it, should just be below the street. I would expect that much more. I mean, the water table in that area is naturally high, that's why I want to do that, it's also flat. Yeah, it's a fair thing. But kind of you got essentially vertical ditches on both sides of everything, like to get our water in this without. But this would give it all quite the advantage of in those big rain events. This is almost 1 day between these two units. Keeping that water from going over. And trying to use it into. It's a big person, just maybe to it. You know, you don't know if that's out of the rock hill or if that's out of the surface well. If it's out of the rock hill, that won't matter for this. Go around the same, all this stuff, and then you rig this all.
gonna be, yeah, so
These, so water table being higher there about,
Yeah.
but that's a 400 foot well or 300 foot.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so. I'm not sure what the. Maybe mention of it did in the job.
Yeah, I would mention that. I don't know.
Were they there?
That's a good question. I know there were some wells there. I mean, they're using a ton of water now, they're,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know.
yeah. Well, eventually that water can work, definitely goes down into the deep off the roots too, to such a. Shallow or well or deep well, either way, you're gonna end up with water. And you get shoot and. But yeah, it's possible there's gonna be a little saturation. It does come up fairly decent to the rest of the road. This is the biggest rain increase in rate in the. Which is why that is shown, right? Yes, yeah. So that was kind of the continental divide for a lot of years. But the benefits of not putting that water in a lot. But on north, definitely rainy season to the springtime. It's been able to play a lot of rain getting to the sea.
Pretty good fall between here and the river.
Yeah,
From 800 north, from 800 north on the road to the northbound deck on 41, there's still be 3 feet of fall.
yeah,
Yep.
I mean, this one,
Right, but there's 30 feet of fall.
that's why they. Right, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
and that's why it's raining so fast.
yeah, yeah. Was there that saying on this guy?
But you look at that driving down the road, you wouldn't think there's that kind of fall
Yeah. But I do know that there'll be all issues as you get closer to the. So, not necessarily the close roads, but the further downstream. Before it gets into the south. So,
on both sides of the ball. If I stay with 10, and then it's still, I don't have a problem with it. You know, they leave that on the side, they'll just leave the water line. Okay, so
I love saying, I said they can have it.
Well, actually.
Well, it actually,
You're
a lot
gonna
out.
keep water in here too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
open out.
Yeah.
In those bigger ones.
So realistically, I haven't got it modeled yet. I don't know that this is 1,000 acres is 100% feasible in those years that we had like. 15 and 16 and 30 inches rain, 50 days and 40 inches, 35 days. It's cheaper, I have no doubts, but those are the times you want to get on the system, so. You know, we can hold it,
I mean, honestly, my only biggest concern for them.
Yeah, me too.
I don't want to affect the neighbor, not have them, at least be aware that we can do this. That's my biggest worry. I don't have, besides that, I have a problem. Sounds like sticks are on board.
yeah,
Maybe.
yeah. We have. Okay, on the top of the big sand ring too.
Yeah, so they're the highest out of the.
Yeah, out of all the neighbors here, the. Least of
I'm
the
saying
seven.
within the, for these guys.
So essentially. The area up here,
Probably need to talk to the ones, even though I don't think it will affect them, but out of respect, I think. It's my opinion. I feel like if not, I think that took us back. It's the, yeah, it's just, I agree, Joe, that is, you know. From them, talk to them, I think that
Boone will be happy just because if we do get that spoiled, you know, that's gonna allow us access, county access to get that ditch from everything, you know, what's bad. I've been at the sleep for almost 15 years. Think about it, it's always. Yeah, it hasn't been clean.
It hasn't.
Went in.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, they probably haven't touched it since, that's how the north end Newton County is, most of the drains have been touched.
This original spoilers were on the level.
So that's, it's the dam part.
It's on the north side of the dam, spoiled.
Yeah. So, but that'll allow us to pay in some of our issues, invasive species and things, get it to where we can maintain it. I mean, that'll still be the 4 mile stretch. Something. The assessments through the years. Keep hoping I see some of it come back. We already cleared. We're this, so all the way, but all we did from 100 all the way to the lake, and then we're from all the way to 53, 200. There wasn't. So. That's a pretty big chunk of it. Hadn't been dipped, but it's good one.
So what do we want to do today?
Make sure the neighbor, that's my person. Should the neighbor found one.
So we do want to put in a surveyor, but one way or the other.
The meeting we had was basically just more or less concerned about the road. I haven't looked into. They're at such a preliminary stage where they haven't done any of the modeling, that type of hydraulic work to figure out, exactly what the impact on the neighbors would be. My understanding was at the beginning of just looking for permission to move forward. If this is even feasible,
Yep. Pretty much. I mean, I'd love to get the stamp, but of approval to get moving, but at this point, I'm waiting on Ducks Unlimited is essentially gonna be our engineer and design of it. So they're gonna run modeling, hopefully in December was the earliest that I'd get any of that done, but I needed to come to the county essentially to figure out exactly what they wanted in the plans. So as we build this, I have what you all want in there and covered essentially.
that modeling and that hydraulic study will tell you the impact of when you're talking about impact on the neighbors.
Yeah.
They'll be able to figure that out.
That's my limit, so.
It is me too. I honestly, I think the project sounds good in my mind. I just don't want to affect somebody else,
Right. Well, and I would also kind of point that the dairy will probably be happy that if there is a control structure in that system, that if they do have any issues and we have that thing closed, it saves their butt.
Yeah.
So I think just the insurance policy of that is probably well above any concern they're gonna
And I
have,
don't
but.
disagree with that, but. You don't want this is going for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
No responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
So
we get
that's
that.
why
Okay.
I think.
And then as far as the road, I mean, that's up to the commission.
So that would be our next, our next step would be then going to the commissioners meeting and discussing it there and trying to get that blessing too, because obviously we want to play nice with everybody and get all the boxes checked before we put a whole lot of time and effort into this.
Yeah, I mean, you get to do all the work and. then-
Yeah. Yep,
Yeah, basically that was the meeting we had before, was just the impact on the road and the impact on the wall and that type of thing, and then,
I mean, 300 north is really not it's.
Yeah, that's
It's
it.
a road that people use.
Anytime I was in it, firefighting days.
Yeah.
Before everybody was doing a good job.
right,
Fires.
yeah,
Actually, I was on a fur fire one time, not too many years ago, so.
It used to be. One,
you're
you're
right.
out there a lot.
Yeah.
I was out there for a couple of weeks, the only traffic I saw was the dog machine, so.
yes,
I bet.
yeah, it's essentially our property user, same round stick, I mean. So, but yeah, EMS is not gonna utilize it, or fire response is not gonna utilize it, they're gonna run 100 and come up on 600 if they're gonna have to go that direction. And that's not a road anybody's gonna wanna utilize, so seasonally closing it's probably not gonna have any impact more than our users itself, so.
I would think you're much. So, yeah.
Okay,
move forward.
So- I'll reach out to the dairy and have that conversation, and then hopefully in a month be back, and if they're good with it, then no other issues, it sounds like. Okay.
If we think of something, we'll let you know.
Yeah, shoot me a text or call me, save me some time. Perfect, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Second Spitler crossing.
That has been installed, I haven't looked at it yet. They, by him getting the pipe through leaks instead of Vesco, saved a ton of money.
Oh, really?
It was gonna be, the pipe was gonna be 900 and something, with a $750 delivery fee. And then he got it for $650. He took care of it all. So I had originally seen that, I had not seen the stone bill. Nothing was ever talked about paying for any stone.
She gave me both invoices, so I passed them along.
And even if you're gonna armor the edge of the pipe. I mean, I could put 5 loads of stone, no,
Well, we wouldn't use 53 and see that.
No. so that's, they created a driveway across it. Yeah, that, I would not pay for that.
So I think this is one that we
Bought the pipe,
bought the pipe and they.
yes,
Well, they bought, yes,
They
so
bought the pipe.
we gave the approval for them to buy the pipe and we would reimburse it, but we don't have a motion yet, so we need to make a motion today. I think the motion was supposed to be made last month, once Bo was out and took a look at it and knew the specs and everything. So technically today, we do need the motion to approve the payment for at least the pipe that was approved.
I'll second it, agree. What you're saying, yeah. Dr. Spitler crossing. Discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Now we need to approve the payment of that, Brian, do you do this? Invoice.
Thus, for the pipe, the six.
The pipe for sure, which then we can discuss it around.
Yeah, well, I think you just approved for the pipe, so this, if you wanna discuss the gravel and thoughts on that.
yeah, when I visit the site before it was done, like, nothing was ever said about paying for the stone. So when I first saw it, I thought, well, maybe they armored the ends of the pipe, but no, that's driveway, some 5 loads of driveway stone with that, no. So,
Was there a crossing before?
no, that was the thing, they were landlocked,
That's why
back,
they're one.
yeah, the back part of the property was landlocked, so they,
How deep of a ditch, 5 loads of stone?
it's only a 30-inch pipe. I mean, it's not that deep.
You got 5 loads of stone, 5 semi loads of stone.
So, I mean, it's not a very deep ditch.
No,
I mean, that,
For building.
for 53s,
Do the math, you know. So. Well. And there was nothing discussed, I mean, usually when like anytime I've done. That's always laid out.
Well,
Typically, I just do it myself, you know, I get the okay and then just put it in and be done.
right, and that was what we were told.
We agreed to buy the pipe,
Right.
put it in, what they chose to, instead of using these 53s, that's their choice. Doesn't change. Otherwise, we'll come.
Yeah, if they backfilled it with stone, that's on them.
Well, we can do all- I mean, there has to be some dirt too, but
It has,
well. I think the agreement is just going to be by the pipe, so.
Well, she had told me that it was in. I just haven't been there to look at it because there was no excavation needed, just roll the pipe in there.
Let me ask you this way, when most people do it. In the past, cause you know, in the past, we pay for the stone and everything.
No, it's just the pipe.
That's,
They're responsible for the
that's
installation.
how it's always been with me when I come. I
Yeah.
Always ask them, they, you know. County or whatever, I mean, you know that.
Yeah.
Or your life here, they'd always say, well, yeah, we'll give you the pipe and then we're stuck doing the rest, which is
Right.
fine.
Yeah.
It was always pretty standard.
I don't know if she just gave me this as, to her mind, it was part of this and it wasn't, you know,
Yeah,
so
sure.
I just, since she gave it to me, I wanted to bring it to the board and have the discussion.
I don't know if we need to take action, I mean, they didn't.
I don't know if we do because the crossing was the question. And we have the motion to put that out.
Yeah, so that's what she understood when, last time I talked to her, we'll buy the pipe.
They don't agree with that, they can always come to the next meeting, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I'll go look at it. If they decided to backfill the whole damn thing with stone, then that's on them.
Yeah.
I'm guessing then, they're so far, then they just put stone on, make the process. Sorry, that's okay, good, fine with me. So we're good with that?
I believe so.
Yeah, number 76.
We were supposed to meet tomorrow with the IDEM and Marty got. We had the meeting all lined up and then the next email I got was Marty got transferred to another division. So we're waiting to find out who's gonna take his place for. The permitting and all that for that pipe. To fill that ditch in.
This is the one with Bill on the ditch.
Yeah. Yeah. They're still not happy with. Dirt diggers work. On that project, because I think there's too much left behind that. Obviously needed to come out,
This is the one where they had to.
clear the brush.
Clear the brush and it was access was. Right, a lot of small
Yeah.
stuff.
Mhm.
And they did send over this morning the final invoice.
Yeah.
To get paid for the total of the project.
At our November meeting, they were here. And we spoke about it, and Brent said, let's go out there and look and see. What needs to be touched up. And I've never talked to him about the Lake Village project, but. That never came up, then this morning she sent over the final invoice, which nothing has changed since the last invoice, so. It's done, it's probably done enough to where. When. The next phase, we can proceed. But. It's
So
just,
is it done to the specs that
no,
the job was,
They're on,
that they agreed to? Then that's,
then they need to bring it up to the specs that they send the contract.
that's my thought.
I mean, that's, you know, they've done it to the specs and there's not much we can say.
There's just a bunch of areas that just. If they couldn't reach it with the machine, they just didn't get it.
So you'll get a hold of them on that, well,
Yeah,
gaming hold payment until.
yeah, I'm not big, yeah, I would say not.
How does that work? You don't pay until he authorizes it anyway?
Invoices on jobs, yeah, they get placed on his desk and I don't pay them until he's initialed it that he's approved.
Yeah, and it.
And that would be tough
Well, yeah,
to do it, I mean, here.
What is it?
Yeah, now we're looking at spring, well.
well, and
I'm
what's,
looking for a December,
Yeah.
January thaw, but.
a lot of what's left is, it's gonna be handwork, it's not machine accessible. But that's the way it was when we looked at it in the first place.
But even with handwork, you're still gonna have to get it out of there.
Yeah, oh yeah,
So that'll be machine, you know.
On-
my-
at the job viewing, I told every one of those contractors. A lot of this is gonna be handwork, drag it to the road and run it through a chipper. That's the only way some of it's gonna get done. So they went in there with the flail mower on a small excavator, and if they couldn't reach it, they just didn't do it. I just and it spells out in there to the top of bank.
I think you're answering your own, honestly. Unfortunately.
Well, I just,
They want paid.
Yeah.
I wish they were here because they've been to most of the meetings. I wish they were here. So.
Yeah.
But.
yeah, no, until we meet out there, yeah.
We're behind it.
Okay.
That it, yeah. Kind of is what it is. Spelled out in the contract they did on.
Well, and their comment last time was, well, if you really wanted it that way, I'd have to charge a whole lot more. Anyway, we'll get that figured out.
Thompson Ditch Wall.
That, they're done. I stopped there. They were finishing up the tiebacks before Thanksgiving when I was there. And it looked like a bomb went off, but now I stopped there this morning and the rock's in, everything's, crane is gone, but with the snow, I can't really see, you know.
So they take the old, the fall of the wall out,
When I was there,
because it was still there the last time I went, when I paid attention.
yeah, me too, but it looked like they had hammered it into pieces. And this morning when I looked,
They hadn't done that.
oh, I couldn't tell because of the snow and I wasn't gonna crawl down there because I wasn't able to get back up.
Yeah.
But, I can't tell if it's still laying there or not because of the
It's
snow.
been a little while since I went by and looked and they had. I don't even know if they had all the pilots and. They were working in the tieback and stuff like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, I
That
don't,
fallen wall was still down in there.
yeah, I thought they were gonna take that out first, but.
Well, that
Well,
was my thoughts. I hope they realized, or I hope that was not.
oh, it's spelled out, yeah, it's spelled out that was supposed to be removed. But,
But I suppose maybe they didn't wanna beat around on that to try to break it up until they had everything secured.
well, and that was my thought too, that I thought, well, they didn't wanna get too close to that edge with a machine. Before they had the pilot, so I'm betting it's probably gone, but I know they're supposed to put a bunch of riprap down that slope where that section was missing. But now it's under a foot of snow, so I can't tell. You can see the rock up on the top. But I can't tell if that wall's still there or not. It was spelled out in the contract, so, or in the specs, so I'm sure that they did. But my only question was, do we wanna see if we can get from the bridge, bring that guardrail around and run it alongside that wall, alongside the pilings? So the highway department could run a guardrail. Cause I'm still convinced that somebody backed into that section, is the only reason it fell over. Cause it was snapped off, it didn't. There was no reason for that section to fall and the others did.
About that, but
I'm thinking somebody backed something into that, it's the only reason it would. I mean, it's been standing there for what, 50, 60 years, and all of a sudden one section decides to, when there's no pressure on it. You know, it's not like we had a torrential rain or something like that, it just all of a sudden falls over. I don't know, but anyway, that sheet piling will hold the rest of it forever. And I just don't know if we wanna put a guardrail along that section, because the sheet piling is pretty,
it doesn't come up as high as in the concrete.
no, high, it's pretty low to the ground. Like, I wouldn't want somebody to run over it,
You come in there, turn in and, you know. We probably ought to have something.
yeah. I was gonna add, after looking at it,
Would
it's
the guardrail be along the road or along the drive going in?
along the drive going in, along the, like, wrap around from the bridge.
You know, or could you set concrete
Oh,
barricades up?
Yeah. yeah, you could, something to keep somebody from driving on top of that sheet
I'm
pile.
not talking about.
Yeah.
Use our construction zones.
Yeah, barricades, yeah.
And get them out there, park. Some good way.
Yeah,
Yeah, just stack them along there, they'll sit there forever.
they're,
Might be cheap, yeah, it'd be probably cheaper than driver.
all that good.
Just a thought.
Yeah, no, I,
Sometimes you can find those. The standards for those changed a few years ago, so a lot of companies had those. Didn't meet these specs, but they. With something like this. Like say, you don't know what they cost.
Yeah. I think even cheaper.
yeah, I'll share about
Or she might have some.
It could be. Probably see them. But I think there'd be room for this.
it. Yeah, it's still a ways off of, pavement.
I'm glad it's. Done, yeah, it's good. Hibbler,
Well, between what Jamie has found and what I've come up with through the files and the notes and the folders and. The idea initially was from Mr. Wondrick, worried about the assessment. Was that there's some neighbors northwest of him that. Got out of the assessment because they take care of their own ditches. And his argument was, well, we take care, him and Kima. The neighbor take care of this ditch. We don't want anything done to this ditch. We don't want anybody touching this ditch. Because it is what it is and we can't change it. And it does just fine. And. We do all our own maintenance. So we shouldn't have to pay it.
Okay.
Problem is that in 2011. Those properties were pulled out because of the new LiDAR.
they were moved out of the watershed.
Correct.
That's why they were.
If you look at the contours. Their water goes north and west. It doesn't come back to this ditch. That's why they were pulled out of the original old watershed. The new watershed that was done in 2011.
So
Determined,
are they now paying on a different watershed?
that where. I think what they're draining into isn't regulated, but it goes to the river. The biggest thing.
So you were starting to say, so the new watershed, does the water go through that ditch then, or does it still go to the north?
The two parties that are concerned about getting out of it, they're still in the watershed. But they don't think they need to be. I found letters that were written. From the Kingma, Mrs. Kingma. And somehow or another. The one that I was told that my share of this. Tax was going to be forgiven. I don't know who told her that. That was back in 2020.
There was a situation in 2020 in the minutes where, I believe Wondering and Kingman came before the board asking to be taken out of the watershed. One meeting it was approved, the next meeting, I think, Attorney Armstrong at that time. Had a conversation with them because they found a letter referencing further conversation. And then the board kind of,
Backtrack.
yeah. Yeah, and I'm not sure what the conversation was. Logically, I think they may not own those properties for so.
That's the biggest thing. It's the outlet for the whole, I mean, they're on the north end. Of the system.
And not, yeah, it's where they're from, that's what one thing, so I should have brought you guys that time, sorry.
The King was on the north side of the ditch.
Water building,
Yeah, well, I would. Between he claims, and from looking at the profiles that I found. Between 500 east and 400 east. There's 10 foot of fall. So it goes well through there. So the ditch kind of takes care of itself, you know, as far as flow line. It's really overgrown quite a bit. And it's got a lot of sandbars and stuff like that in it, but they're happy with it. When this, last time this came up, from what I understand, Kanako went out there and was gonna like straighten out everything and fix the banks and do this and do that, and they threw it, that they don't want anybody touching it because it's sand ground.
Is it pretty deep?
Yeah. Yeah, it gets pretty deep. The banks are deep. And they, to stabilize the banks permanently, you'd have to pull them back quite a bit, at a better slope. And they don't want anybody touching it, which is fine, but it's still the outlet for a big system.
The problem is, long-term is.
Yeah, they're not always gonna own it.
What happens if the next generation comes in and they sell it to somebody else?
Right.
It's not fair that other people are paying into that watershed.
Well, and
You can't dissect things that way.
right, I mean, his comment.
I could.
His comment to me was, you know. The assessment went up because you guys are doing all that work on the south end. And now that work's done, why am I still paying? Well, because the fund's still 20-some thousand in debt. It hasn't paid itself back yet.
Right.
So, I mean,
It's always been a topic of discussion. It is person at the lower end, they're only using 10% of the ditch, so they have to pay as much as the person upper end, that's using 100% of the ditch.
Well, I think by statute it's by benefited acres, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they're paying. by-
Right, and then there's a benefit just like the other ones.
well, I mean, you read
Now,
this,
but we do have a couple of rooms in this county that we pay a different assessment on the one that we bring. Carlson, being one of those. Right or wrong, that's what we did. But I don't see, right, I guess if they're doing work on it, they need, if it's a regulated drain, they need to come get permission to do the work before they do it, make sure.
Well,
they take care of it, and then they need to be compensated by the drain.
he's talking about, you know, like if the bank falls in, they come and pull it back. If a tree falls in, they come and take it out. You know, it's okay, fine, I would think that most anybody would do that, that doesn't get you out of. You know, if you read these letters, like, this ditch had, you know, none of this has any effect on my ground, well, it does. It's draining your ground, whether you realize it or not. So
Cost of business. Oil and gas, it's cost of.
Yeah, and I mean, if they are doing work on it. And they're paid an assessment, if they can choose to turn a bill in for that.
No, I don't know, here, due to the assessment, so right, you owe me $488. So
So
38 cents.
Is that old?
That's for 2020, yeah, she wrote in. I wasn't supposed to pay this, you owe me money.
I don't. Before me.
Yeah.
For me, but I don't. I mean, I don't see.
I don't see how you can,
But I, that if they are doing work, that. What should be, it's gotta be approved by. Later. And then they can. I mean, that's their choice.
well, that's what I told him, I said, we can come in here and. Because the one side, the north side is cleared, had been cleared at one point, and now it's growing back up again. I said, we come in here and clear this off and get this ditch, you know, get the sandbars out of the way. And just, no, don't touch it. They don't want you to touch it. And that was the argument of trying to get out of it last time, because Chris had this big plan to clean it up. You know, no, they want to do all the work.
It's regulated drains, so you have some of the property, but it's really. It's not a responsibility to maintain.
Well, and my thought is, it's doing its job right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't think there's a problem, I think you don't.
Yeah.
But when it becomes a problem,
Sure, yeah,
then it needs to be addressed.
yeah, and that kind of what I tried to explain to him when we were on site was, you know, this is the outlet for a lot of other neighborhoods. And yeah, as long as it's working, it's fine.
I agree with Scott. Unfortunately, it might make them upset, but I don't think we change it.
Yeah, he's like, well, can we at least,
can.
can we at least get dropped down to like a $5 an acre maintenance fee? And I'm like,
Well, when the debt's paid off,
yeah. Yeah, when
whenever
it's,
that's.
right,
I don't remember. It doesn't matter.
They're still,
the original. Minutes from that,
22,000.
What's it bringing in?
It brings. 45,563.75
It's
cents.
getting paid off.
Well, it also owes money to the landfill. So it's in debt, but it owes money to the landfill, so it's paying landfill and then,
You know,
yes. It owes the landfill. $528,000. Dollars. So I think there was a big couple of loans from the landfill to do that big. Pivot project.
Right.
It is $25 per acre.
yeah. From the
With a
hearing,
$50 minimum.
from the hearing meeting. The proposed rate was 50 an acre. With a $200 minimum, and Tim. Made the motion to make it 25. With a $50 minimum. You seconded.
I think that's what it was, we're able to use the landfill money when we could stretch it out longer. Yeah, I think that's what, if I remember, I think that would be great. That is not right, but I think that's. That. There's anything we can do, so.
Yeah, like I say, you can't. Let somebody opt out and then the next landowner, you know, when it changes hands, it changes hands and then all of a sudden you're back in, it doesn't make sense.
You're in the watershed, so they look much.
Yeah, that's what I said, everything I've found. Was mentions that the 2011 LiDAR. Reestablished the watershed,
That's why it was original.
right, yep,
And those adjustments were made in preparation of doing our work.
correct,
Sure, the watershed is correct and.
yeah, because it, Abermonch and. HEC Engineering did a bunch of studies up there in 2011. And
It's kind of, there's a little fog back there.
coming back to you.
So other matter.
That's it.
Yeah. I went over there and looked at it from the road. I haven't walked back there yet to see. I'm sure they built it back up. And I don't think we're gonna get a break in the snow, but we can get, if it is what I think it is, we can get. What, you say his name? We're
Oh, the
Wiltshire?
Wiltshire,
Yeah, older, yeah.
what's that?
the
What?
amphibious
That's
excavator.
Let's have to get him back in there and knock it out. I went up there,
To this point, I suppose you kind of wait to go through the spring.
Yeah, I would wait, because they'll rebuild it.
Because they're
Yeah.
gonna build it, get it done right.
exactly.
It's nuts, it's terrible.
The only other thing I thought about is, the only, and I don't know how you'd ever get it approved. Is to, instead of just an outlet. Block that off and pump it out. Like they do at some with a big pump station on the levee out there. Pump that dish into the river. Instead of just letting the river control. The elevation of that
When
water.
you still have problems though with beavers up above that,
Yeah, but
If
if,
you have access to it, you wanna be in wetland,
oh,
if you did it right. You know what I mean?
I don't know how, I mean,
That's the way, right now, the hard part is that that stuff all falls in that wetland and.
Well, you get back there, you get back closer to the river, then you lose the ditch. It's just water everywhere. It's hard to find a channel. But if you could, like I said, block it off from the river so it can't backflow
And then,
and then pump it over the levee, suck that ditch dry. Which, that's what they do at Somalo.
Then you just got to build the watershed, you know.
yeah, I think the watershed is one of. I mean, that.
Well, with you and, between you and Duncan. It'd be tickled to death.
Well, I mean, that affects the effect around not about. On spot. I mean, all the way through there. You know, Wagner's.
How big a watershed is it? I don't know. The best it is, how big is that watershed? And we don't even count the, oh, boy, acres,
Yeah,
the Larson, no way,
6,000.
That's what he's talking about, is
6,000. So it costs per acre, might not be terrible. To make, to operate it.
It's currently in $30,000 of debt. A lot of engineering.
well, when we engineered to figure out how we could, and then they came back and said, yeah, there's nothing you can do. Basically, there's areas that guys have
Wetlands issue.
dipped on their own.
Well,
They're actually deeper than they're supposed to be, but it's just.
we just supposed to tried to get the meanders and stuff out.
Yeah.
That's. Years, it's.
That one and Beaver Lake and all of it's just controlled by the river level.
And we're still working on paying, Burke. Because they're still working on it.
Yeah, I know.
We might want to stop that as we're gonna talk about going in a different direction.
Well, we still need that. They're working on a culvert. They're trying to get permitting for me to put a culvert in.
I wonder how close are we?
They sent me,
Put a culvert in there.
Oh,
there's a lateral that comes in on the west side that we need to cross, and that's all it was. I finally got the second permit. I think we're waiting on a third one.
something on state ground?
Yeah.
Well, take it.
He negotiated. Anything else, other matters, meeting dates for next year, we want to discuss that now? I see.
Tuesdays, right? Tuesdays are meeting dates,
So first Tuesday of the month, okay.
except. There's two Tuesdays that we were gonna meet on Monday
Right.
because elections and stuff.
Okay.
Tuesdays at 10, and yeah, still. Well, I may not be on it. Commissioners, they don't.
Want to sit in my seat?
No,
Oh,
I don't, no, I don't care. No. I don't know, I gotta think about it.
yeah.
No, you need to sit in your seat. Abby may wanna come back.
Guarantee it. I saw the text.
You saw Steve's answer?
Yeah.
Did you like my response?
She, yeah, I guarantee it. If you don't mind.
You wanna talk about attorney for next year, or wait for next year?
Next one too, or?
Mr. Raver, do you have any?
Normally, what I've always done is, I think, if I remember correctly, the terms of my engagement letter kind of have that standard language that it goes up through the 31st of the year. And that if the county were to not renew it, you would give notice. I think technically 30 days in advance, but like today's meeting, I wouldn't send the invoice. Because in the past, I've always like the State Board of Accounts, I've run into this issue for the retainer until January 26. But if you want, I can send you the engagement letter dated for Jan 1, and then you could just put it on the agenda.
Are you still interested in doing it?
Yeah, I would do it. I mean, that's obviously.
That's what we wanted to hear.
Yeah, I would still do it. And then if you want, I can have that engagement letter sent over and it can be on the agenda for the January meeting for you to adopt.
Are you still okay if he can't be here for some reason?
Absolutely.
Then we got it, so,
Works for me.
Very good.
yeah.
Thank you all.
Almost.
Look forward to it. I'll send it over to you in the next day or two.
Sounds good.
You say that.
No, I think I actually have it. Well, I normally have my staff, cause I was counting last night and I have like 7 or 8 municipal clients, so I have them update all of them at once. And so I've gotta fire these all off. So I think it's actually already done. I just need to email it, so.
Exactly. But anything else?
I do not.
Anything?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you.